These are the 15 black-owned handbag brands only the ultra-rich know exist, and the exclusivity on some of them is absolutely insane. You're about to get an inside look into a designer whose bag Beyoncé carried on tour, but that's nothing next to a man who won fashion's biggest prize at only 26 and ended up inside the Met. And at number 1? We have a house that will not sell you a bag no matter how much money you have. Let's get into it. Number 15. Kintu, New York. Let's start with a handbag that has a cow's horn on it. And no, I'm not kidding. The hardware on a Kintu bag is hand-carved from Kenyan cow horn, which means the clasp you're holding is a material no European luxury house would ever touch, and every single piece of it is slightly different from the one before it. Open the bag up and the lining is hand-woven silk brocade, sourced from artisans in India and Kenya. The leather is vegetable tanned, no heavy chemicals anywhere near it. This is a bag that was assembled out of 4 different continents. Sarah Nakantu founded it in 2015 and named it after her father, and she designs everything in New York before handing it to multi-generational artisans in Italy who actually build it. Her whole philosophy is something she calls generational conservatism of artistry, which is a very elegant way of saying she refuses to let old skills die just because a machine could do it faster. And the market noticed. Kintu now sits inside Kadawi in Berlin, which is one of the oldest and most intimidating luxury department stores in Europe. Prices open around $650 and climb from there. So that's a bag covered in details from 3 continents. But the next designer on this list took everything off. Number 14. Desiree. No logo, no monogram, no little metal plaque telling everybody what you paid. Absolutely nothing. And this brand still ended up as one of the most exclusive handbag designers. Desiree Kelly built her entire house on the idea that if the bag is good enough, it doesn't need to introduce itself. She launched in 2022, and instead of doing what every new label does, which is stamp its name across the front in the biggest font available, she went the opposite direction and stripped the whole thing bare. Every Desiree bag is handcrafted in Spain, using local Spanish and Italian leathers, and the pitch is uncomfortably direct. She's not trying to be an alternative to the heritage houses. She's trying to beat them at the only thing they actually sell, which is the feel of the leather in your hand. Take away the logo, take away the 200 years of advertising, and see who's really left standing. The structured tote and the Maya leather tote both run about $695. It's quiet luxury in the truest sense, which is the kind that only really works if you already know what you're looking at. Desiree wants her bag to say nothing. Our next founder built hers to actually do something, and she quit a very good job to prove it. Number 13. Silver and Riley. Lola Banjo was a corporate executive, flying constantly, and she kept running into the same stupid problem. Every bag that looked good was useless, and every bag that was useful looked like a suitcase from an airport gift shop. Nobody was making one that did both. So she made it herself. Silver and Riley is manufactured in artisanal workshops in Italy using premium full-grain Italian leather, the kind that actually gets better the more you beat it up. The flagship is the convertible executive bag, and the whole point is in the name. It converts. It changes shape depending on what your day is doing to you. It retails for $795, and it has become something of a cult object among women who fly for a living. But here's the part I really like. Banjo runs a global grant program out of the business, funding female entrepreneurs directly from her revenue. She built the brand for working women, and then she used the brand to fund more of them. That's a closed loop, and it's a good one. That's a bag built for a woman who takes herself seriously. The next brand makes bags that take nothing seriously at all, including the entire luxury industry. Number 12. Saturday House. Picture a handbag shaped exactly like a Birkin, and hand-painted across the side of it, in big letters, are the words, "You fake like this Birkin." That is a real product. People buy it. Celebrities carry it. Sonique Saturday runs Saturday House out of Los Angeles, and she is doing something genuinely audacious, which is using the silhouettes of Hermes and Chanel as a blank canvas to insult the entire culture built around them. The bags are hand-painted, they're vegan leather, and they are essentially arguments you can carry on your shoulder. Every one of them is a joke aimed at luxury gatekeeping, made by someone the gatekeepers never let in. And the delicious part? The joke worked. The bags sell through scarcity drops and custom commissions, running between $300 and $800, and the clientele is exactly the stylish, famous, extremely online crowd that legacy houses spend fortunes chasing. She built her career mocking the most exclusive bag on earth, and the exclusive people bought it anyway. There is no better troll in fashion right now. Saturday House screams, but our next brand has spent 15 years perfecting the art of the whisper. Speaking of outthinking an entire industry with one clever idea, a lot of it comes down to how the brain performs when it matters. That's the idea behind an audio series called the Genius Switch. It's based on the neuroscience of the flow state, that mode where focus and creativity click at the same time. And the whole routine is just listening with headphones a few minutes a day. It's a one-time $39, less than a single online course, and it's backed by a 90-day money-back guarantee, so you can test it on yourself with nothing to lose. If you're watching on your TV, pause and scan the QR code on screen with your phone camera, or tap the first link in the description. Now, back to the quietest name on the countdown. Number 11. Yvonne Kone. This one is about subtraction. Yvonne Kone launched out of Copenhagen in 2011, and her entire aesthetic is what happens when Danish minimalism collides with the warm, deep color palette of the Ivory Coast, which is where her family comes from. Two design languages that have absolutely no business working together, fused into something extremely calm and extremely expensive looking. Every piece is made in traditional Italian tanneries using full-grain pebbled leather, and there is almost no hardware on any of it. No buckles fighting for attention. No chains. She won the L-Style Award in 2017 for exactly this, and the Leo leather bucket bag runs about $830, while the little Annika crossbody sits around $745. Her customer is the architect, the gallery director, the woman who dresses in 3 colors total and somehow always looks like the most powerful person in the room. It is a bag that refuses to try, which is, ironically, one of the hardest things in fashion to actually pull off. Kone built her house slowly over 15 years. The next one entered the handbag game in 2024 and sold out almost immediately because she didn't need to build an audience. She already had an army. Number 10. Hanifa. Hanifa Mwemba had already conquered ready-to-wear. She had a global community that hung on every single drop. So when she launched leather goods in July 2024, she wasn't asking for permission, she was cashing a check she'd already written. The debut collection is 100% premium calfskin, and the shapes are the giveaway. Sculptural, geometric, hard architectural lines in deep crimson and espresso, bags that look less like accessories and more like something you'd find on a plinth in a gallery. The Weekender tops the line at $889, with the V Medium at $529 and the V Mini at $389. Now here's the strategy underneath it, because this is the part other brands should be studying. She sells direct. No department stores taking their cut, no wholesalers deciding what her brand means. Just her community, and a drop calendar. And when you've spent years earning that kind of loyalty, you don't need a Bergdorf window. Your customers are already refreshing the page. Hanifa moves at the speed of a sold-out drop. The next designer moves at the speed of grief, and every bag he makes is a puzzle. Number 9. Daniel Diapré. Look closely at the leather on a Daniel Diapré bag and you'll see it. A jigsaw puzzle embossed right into the surface. Every piece locked into the next one. He chose that motif on purpose. It's about patience, and about things fitting together slowly over time. And if you know the origin of the house, you understand why. Diapré founded the label in October 2021 in honor of his late father, Tubonami Nkari Dokubo, with one stated goal: to build an African fashion house that could stand next to the European giants without apologizing to anyone. And the storytelling goes deeper than the leather. The bags carry Nigerian names, pulled directly from the cultures and languages he grew up with. The Kemi Nkari Square Shopper, the Oluwasen Shopper, the Nkari Tomiwa Jigsaw Clutch. His father's name is stitched right into the product line, which means every time somebody buys one, they're saying it out loud without even realizing. The larger patent leather travel totes push past $1,100, and British Vogue has already come knocking. Not bad for a house that's barely 5 years old. Diopre put his own family's name on everything. Our next designer spent 20 years putting other people's names on things instead. Number 8. REE Projects. Here's a fun fact about the luxury industry that they'd rather you didn't think about. The person whose name is on the bag usually didn't design the bag. Desiree Kleinen spent 2 decades as one of those invisible people, designing accessories for Karl Lagerfeld and for Balmain. Enormous names, enormous houses, and her own name appeared on precisely none of it. So in 2016, in Amsterdam, she stopped. REE Projects is her name on her work, finally, and you can feel 20 years of restraint in the product. Sculptural leather goods, handcrafted in specialist tanneries in northern Italy, built around clean lines and folded gussets, and a structure so precise the bags almost look engineered rather than sewn. The Claire Croc Effect tote and the medium Anne tote sit between $1,000 and $1,240, and the Riva Suede Hobo runs around $925. You'll find her at Farfetch, at Nordstrom, and in the kind of independent European boutiques that don't have signs on the door. Her customer doesn't want a logo. Her customer wants to know who actually made it. Kleinen left the machine after 20 years. Our next 2 founders got out a lot faster than that. Number 7. Ashia. Ashley Simone and Moya Anich both worked at Tory Burch, which means before they ever designed a single bag of their own, they got a full education in how a real luxury supply chain actually functions, what it costs, where it breaks, and who gets squeezed. Then in 2017, they left and used all of it against the industry that trained them. Ashia is built in New York around a specific idea, which is that travel accessories can be genuinely beautiful without being genuinely useless. Full-grain, custom-embossed leather, custom-cast hardware they had made from scratch rather than ordered from a catalog, and a small-batch production model that means they never carry dead stock. The Shima Slingback runs $1,295. The Slingback Mini sits at $1,050. And the industry responded in the most flattering way possible. Michael Kors called. He brought them in to collaborate on his brand's 40th anniversary, which is not a thing that happens to small labels. That's an established American designer looking at 2 women who left a competitor 8 years ago and deciding he'd rather have them inside the tent. Ashia got invited into the room. Our next founder didn't wait for an invitation. She kicked the door off its hinges. Number 6. Brother Vellies. Aurora James did something in 2020 that almost no designer in history has managed, which is that she changed the actual rules of the industry instead of just complaining about them. She created the 15% pledge. The ask was simple. Major retailers should devote 15% of their shelf space to Black-owned brands, because Black people are roughly 15% of the country. That's it. That's the whole idea. And Nordstrom signed. Sephora signed. Others followed. The initiative has since redirected billions of dollars of procurement money toward Black-owned businesses. Billions. From one Instagram post. But the bags came first, and the bags are extraordinary. She founded Brother Vellies in 2013 specifically to keep traditional African artisanal techniques alive inside the luxury market, and she built a production network that most brands would find impossible to manage. South Africa, Kenya, Morocco, Ethiopia, Burkina Faso, Haiti, Italy. Hand-carved wooden handles, croc-embossed leather, removable ostrich feather trims. The Nile Feather handbag runs $1,395. The Ligidou croc-embossed shoulder bag sits at $1,295. She could have just made beautiful bags and been comfortable. Instead, she went and rewired how American retail spends its money. James moved billions of dollars through the industry. The next name on this list moved something harder to measure, which is the definition of luxury itself. Number 5. Off-White. Virgil Abloh changed what a luxury house is even allowed to look like, and he did it fast, and then he was gone. Off-White was the vehicle. Quotation marks around ordinary words. Zip ties hanging off finished products. Industrial belts on runway pieces. He took the visual language of construction sites and warehouses and Nike stockrooms and dragged it, uninvited, straight into the Paris show calendar. And the establishment, which had spent a century deciding who was allowed in, simply could not stop him. He was too good, and he was too fast. The handbags carry all of it. Engineered in Italy in top-grade calfskin with structural hardware and that signature typography running across everything. The For Dinner Crystal Shoulder Bag retails at $14.95, the zip-tie leather crossbody at $14.50, and the Jitney and Hemisphere lines run from $8.50 to $11.50. You'll find them in Nordstrom, Saks, Selfridges, and in flagship boutiques in every luxury capital on Earth. He passed away in 2021, far too young, and the house continues under the creative direction of Ib Kamara. But everything Virgil built and everything he broke is still sitting in the middle of the industry, and it isn't going anywhere. Ablo proved a black designer could redefine European luxury. Our next founder decided she wasn't going to bother with Europe at all. Number 4. Anima Iris. Will Glory Tanjong went to Princeton and studied African development, which is not the resume of a woman who was ever going to build a normal handbag company. She built Anima Iris in Dakar, Senegal, not designed in Paris and assembled in Senegal. Built there by Senegalese artisans using leatherworking techniques that are centuries old, under a strict zero-waste mandate. The signature material is naturally marked deer hide, which means every bag carries the actual life story of the animal in its surface. No two are the same, and that is entirely the point. There is no warehouse full of stock. She sources short-run leathers and drops limited runs, so when a run is gone, that exact bag will never exist again. The Pink Princess Bambi Limby Tote and the Bambi Zaya Long both sit around $1,600. And then Beyoncé showed up. She carried a custom Anima Iris piece, the Cowboy Carter Zaza, and in that moment a young brand out of Dakar got the single most valuable endorsement available anywhere in global culture. You cannot buy that. You cannot pitch for it. Somebody just has to decide your work is good enough. Anima Iris drops fast and sells out faster. Our next house works so slowly it's almost painful. Number 3. Zashadu. One artisan. One bag. Between 24 and 48 hours, start to finish, no assembly line, no handing it down the bench to somebody else. That is the rule at Zashadu, and Zainab Ashadu has refused to break it since 2010. Which means when you buy one of her bags, you are not buying a product. You are buying 2 full days of one specific person's life. She works out of a dedicated workshop in Lagos, Nigeria, and her supply chain is almost entirely local, which in luxury is genuinely rare. The leather comes from multi-generational tanneries in Kano, in northern Nigeria. The exotic snake skins are byproducts from local agricultural ecosystems, so nothing is being hunted for a handbag. Ashadu herself trained at the London College of Fashion, but she also holds degrees in English and modern drama, which explains a lot about how theatrical the finished pieces are. The signature Ayers snakeskin mini bags come studded with rough-cut semi-precious gemstones, and the top-tier designs push past $2,150. You'll find her stocked in London, Paris, Johannesburg, and Miami. She mastered her craft in Lagos, and the world came to her. The next designer went the other way, walked into the belly of the European luxury establishment, and beat everybody in the building. Number 2. Thebe Magugu. In 2019, a 26-year-old South African designer from Kimberley won the LVMH Prize, which is the single most important award a young designer on this planet can win. He was the first African to ever take it. The president of South Africa publicly congratulated him. But here's what makes Thebe Magugu genuinely unusual. His collections are researched. Actual academic research into social justice, into feminism, into historical memory, folded into clothes that hang in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. Not sold in the gift shop, collected by the museum. Then Dior called. Maria Grazia Chiuri brought him in to reinterpret the house's iconic 1947 new look for a capsule supporting the Charlize Theron Africa Outreach Project. And the result was the Christian Dior x Thebe Magugu oblique book tote. That bag now commands $3,500 and up on the secondary market. And to be clear, that is a Dior bag with his name next to theirs, which tells you exactly how far he'd climbed in 4 years. His own accessories, like the Basotho-inspired Jacquard duffel with red leather trim, run past $1,100, and you'll find him at Dover Street Market, Browns, and Matches Fashion. Magugu's work is hanging in a museum where anyone can walk in and see it. Our number one is the exact opposite, because you can have all the money in the world and still never get your hands on one. Number 1. Loris. There is no store of this brand. No wholesale account, no department store concession, and no seasonal collection dropping on a Thursday. If you want a Loris handbag, you go through a private client salon, and a significant chunk of what the house produces is never offered publicly at all. It exists only as a bespoke special order, made because one specific person asked for it. Obi Okoronkwo built the house on a total rejection of what luxury turned into. The industry decided that scale was the goal, that you grow the brand, expand the distribution, put a logo on a keychain, and sell it in an airport. Loris looked at all of that and simply refused. Every bag is made entirely by hand in Lombardia, Italy, in the region that has been producing the finest leather workers in the world for generations. Quantities are limited and numbered. The materials are crocodile and ostrich, the skins that sit at the absolute top of the food chain in this business. And the signature Rosa handbag runs just under $5,800, which makes it, by a wide margin, the most expensive bag on this entire list. You will not see Loris advertised. There's no campaign. Just quiet placements in WWD, in Harper's Bazaar, in Tatler, the publications that reach roughly 400 people who genuinely matter and nobody else. Because here's the thing, this house understands better than anybody. Real exclusivity was never about the price. Anybody with a credit card can spend money. Real exclusivity is being told no. And those were 15 Black-owned handbag brands built for people who have run out of things to buy. Look at the pattern, though. Almost none of these founders competed on price. They competed on scarcity, on story, and on the one thing the heritage houses can no longer manufacture, which is a reason to care. So which one got you? The bag hand-painted to insult the Birkin, the woman who moved billions of dollars with one Instagram post, or the house that won't sell to you at any price? Drop it in the comments, hit that like button if any of this surprised you, and subscribe to Black Status, because we break down empires like this every single week.